When you sent in your request for this deep dive on quantum consciousness, I knew we were in for a wild ride.
Oh, yeah.
It's a topic that blends cutting-edge physics with, ancient spiritual ideas.
Right.
And it all revolves around this mind-boggling question. What if our consciousness isn't just a product of our brains, but something deeply connected to, like, the fabric of reality itself?
It's a question that has puzzled philosophers and scientists for
For
centuries.
sure.
How do we go from the physical matter of our brains to the subjective experience of being aware, of feeling joy, of seeing the color red?
Yeah.
This is the famous mind-body problem.
Right.
And it's a problem that conventional neuroscience hasn't fully cracked.
Exactly, yeah. It feels like there's something more to the story than just neurons firing.
Yeah.
And that's where quantum mechanics enters the picture, right?
Right.
This idea that maybe the strange world of quantum physics holds the key to understanding consciousness.
That's right. One of the leading theories in this field is called orchestrated objective reduction, or OR for short.
Yeah.
And the most mind-blowing implication of OR is that each moment of our conscious experience might be linked to a tiny quantum collapse happening inside our brains.
Okay, hold on. A quantum collapse inside our brains. Let's unpack that.
Think of it this way. In the quantum world, things exist in a state of possibilities. It's called a superposition.
Okay.
It's not until an observation or measurement is made that these possibilities collapse into a definite outcome.
So it's like those particles are in multiple states at once until someone looks at them.
Exactly. And what Orkor proposes is that our brains are not just passive observers, but active participants in this quantum dance.
I see.
They suggest that tiny structures within brain cells called microtubules could be acting like quantum computers, maintaining these superpositions and orchestrating their collapse.
Microtubules, those tiny scaffolding structures inside our cell. I remember those from biology class. But I never imagined they could be involved in something as complex as consciousness.
It's a radical idea for sure, but the idea is that these microtubules might be able to shield delicate quantum states from the noisy environment of the brain, allowing them to maintain coherence for a brief period.
So we have these quantum superpositions happening inside our microtubules, and then what? How does that create a moment of consciousness?
This is where physicist Sir Roger Penrose comes in.
Right.
He proposed a theory called objective reduction,
Okay.
which suggests that quantum superpositions don't just collapse randomly, but due to an interplay between quantum mechanics and gravity.
Okay, so gravity is playing a role in collapsing these quantum states.
Yes. And Penrose suggests that these collapses might be linked to moments of conscious insight, those aha moments when something suddenly clicks in our minds.
That's wild. So we have microtubules maintaining these quantum states, gravity collapsing them, and each collapse is like a tiny spark of consciousness.
You're getting it. But it's not just a random collection of collapses, it's orchestrated. Hence the name orchestrated objective reduction. Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist who collaborated with Penrose on OR, proposed that biological processes within the brain help to synchronize and coordinate these quantum collapses, creating a coherent flow of conscious experience.
Wow. It all seems so intricate and interconnected.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, the idea of quantum processes happening inside our warm, messy brains does seem a bit far-fetched.
Yeah.
How do proponents of OR address that skepticism?
It's a valid concern. For a long time, scientists believed that quantum phenomena were too delicate to exist in biological systems. But the field of quantum biology is revealing that nature is much more adept at utilizing quantum mechanics than we initially thought.
Like those birds that use quantum entanglement to navigate, right?
Exactly. We're finding examples of quantum phenomena happening in plants, bacteria, even our own eyes. So it's becoming increasingly clear that quantum mechanics plays a role in living systems.
Okay, that makes sense. So if plants can harness quantum coherence, maybe it's not so crazy to think our brains could too. But how would these microtubules maintain these fragile quantum states? It still seems like the brain would be a very disruptive environment.
Well, there are some interesting ideas out there. One possibility is that the geometry of microtubules themselves provides some shielding from the noisy environment. Another is that the brain has evolved specific mechanisms for maintaining coherence.
Okay.
Or perhaps the synchronization with brainwave frequencies plays a role in refreshing or recohering those quantum states.
It's incredible to think that something as fundamental as consciousness might be intertwined with these mind-bending quantum phenomena. This is definitely challenging everything I thought I knew about the brain.
It's definitely a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
And it raises so many intriguing questions about the nature of reality and our place in it.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's exactly what we're going to delve into in part two. We'll explore some of the spiritual connections to these ideas and dive into the history of government research into psychic phenomena. It's going to get even more fascinating, so stay tuned. Okay, we're back and ready to dive even deeper. Last time, we were talking about the mind-blowing possibility that our conscious experiences might be linked to quantum processes happening in our brains. I have to admit, my mind is already a bit blown.
Yeah.
But now I'm really curious to explore some of those spiritual connections you mentioned.
It's true that when you start talking about quantum consciousness, it's hard not to bump into ideas that have long been explored in spiritual traditions. For example, in Buddhism, the idea of impermanence, or anicca, is central to their philosophy. Everything is in constant flux, including our thoughts and feelings.
Right. So instead of there being a solid self, it's more like a continuous flow of experiences.
Exactly. And if you think about the Orcherar model with its emphasis on discrete moments of consciousness arising from quantum collapses, there's a striking resonance with this Buddhist concept of impermanence.
Hmm.
It's as if each moment of awareness is a tiny ripple in the stream of consciousness arising and passing away.
That's a fascinating parallel. And
Okay.
Buddhism also emphasizes the interconnectedness of everything in the universe, right?
Absolutely. And that brings to mind the concept of quantum entanglement, where particles are linked across space and time.
Right.
It's as if there's a hidden web of connections underlying reality, which resonates with the Buddhist idea of dependent origination, that everything is interconnected and arises in dependence upon other things.
It's really intriguing how these ancient spiritual ideas seem to converge with modern physics. Are there other traditions that connect with quantum consciousness?
Definitely. Vedic and yogic traditions talk about the universe being composed of subtle vibrations, a concept that aligns with the idea of quantum fields being the fundamental building blocks of reality. And in these traditions, they also explore the concept of a universal consciousness, a kind of cosmic mind that permeates everything.
So it's like these ancient traditions were tapping into something that science is just now starting to understand through the lens of quantum mechanics.
It's a possibility. And it's not just limited to Eastern philosophies. Western mystical traditions also grapple with ideas that resonate with quantum consciousness. For instance, the concept of a soul, a spiritual essence that transcends the physical body, could be interpreted through the lens of quantum information.
So instead of consciousness being generated solely by the brain, maybe the brain acts more like a receiver or a filter for a consciousness that exists beyond the physical realm.
That's one way to think about it. Of course, it's important to remember that these connections are still largely speculative. We're not saying that quantum physics proves the existence of a soul or validates any particular spiritual belief system.
Right, it's important to stay grounded and not jump to conclusions. But these connections are still really thought-provoking. They invite us to consider a much broader view of consciousness and its potential relationship to the universe.
Exactly. And speaking of exploring the unknown, this brings us to a rather intriguing chapter in the history of consciousness research. Government-funded investigations into psychic phenomena.
Wait, really? The government was studying things like ESP and telepathy. That sounds like something out of a spy movie.
It does, doesn't it? But it's true. During the Cold War, there was a lot of interest, both in the US and the Soviet Union, in the potential for psychic espionage. The idea that people with psychic abilities could gather intelligence or disrupt enemy operations.
So what did these government programs actually do? Did they have any success?
One of the most well-known programs in the U.S. was called Project Stargate, which focused on remote viewing, the alleged ability to see distant locations using only the mind.
Whoa.
They recruited individuals who claimed to have psychic abilities and put them through rigorous testing.
And did they actually find any evidence to support remote viewing?
The results are still debated. Officially, the program was shut down in the 1990s with inconclusive findings. But some researchers involved in the project claim there were significant breakthroughs that have been kept classified.
That's fascinating and a bit unsettling. So how does all of this connect back to quantum consciousness?
Well, some proponents of quantum consciousness suggest that phenomena like telepathy or remote viewing might be explained by the mind's ability to tap into non-local connections, perhaps through entanglement.
So our minds could be entangled with distant locations or even other minds across space and time.
That's the idea. It's still highly speculative, and there's no definitive evidence to support it. But it does raise some interesting questions about the potential capabilities of the human mind and its relationship to the quantum realm.
This is definitely a lot to process.
Hmm.
We've gone from quantum processes and microtubules to ancient Buddhist philosophy to government-funded psychic spies. What a journey. But I'm ready for more. What else can you tell us about the implications of all of this? All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into quantum consciousness. We've been on quite a journey so far, exploring everything from those potential quantum processes in our brains to the intriguing intersection of quantum physics and spirituality. Now, I'm really curious about the broader implications of all of this. If consciousness is truly intertwined with the quantum realm, how might that shape our future?
It's a question that opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. Imagine a future where our understanding of consciousness transforms fields like artificial intelligence, healthcare,
Yeah.
even our understanding of what it means to be human.
Okay, let's start with AI. You mentioned earlier that quantum computing is advancing rapidly. Could we one day create machines that are not only intelligent but also conscious, experiencing the world subjectively, just like we do?
It's a question that's sparking a lot of debate right now. If Orchar is correct, and consciousness does indeed involve quantum processes, then it might be possible to replicate those processes in advanced quantum computers, potentially leading to a new era of conscious machines.
That's both exciting and a little terrifying. What kind of ethical challenges would we face if we were to create machines that could feel and experience the world?
The implications are profound. We'd need to rethink our whole framework for ethics and morality. Would a conscious AI have rights? Would we be obligated to treat it differently than a regular computer? These are questions that philosophers and ethicists are just beginning to grapple with.
It sounds like we'd be entering uncharted territory, ethically and philosophically. But beyond AI, how might quantum consciousness impact other areas of our lives, like healthcare?
Think about the mind-body connection.
Yeah.
We know that our thoughts and emotions can have a profound impact on our physical health. But if consciousness is rooted in the quantum realm, it could suggest a much deeper and more fundamental link between mind and body.
So we might start to see the development of new therapies that harness this quantum connection to promote healing.
Exactly. We could see a resurgence of interest in areas like energy healing and psychosomatic medicine, but now informed by a deeper understanding of the quantum underpinnings of consciousness. It could revolutionize how we approach health and well-being.
It's amazing to consider the potential for healing and transformation. But as we delve deeper into the mysteries of consciousness, what kind of risks or challenges might we encounter?
One concern is the potential for manipulation. If we learn to directly influence quantum processes in the brain, it could open up unsettling possibilities for mind control or thought manipulation. Safeguarding mental privacy and autonomy would become even more crucial in a world where our thoughts and feelings could be accessed or influenced by external forces.
It seems like a delicate balancing act. We want to explore the potential of quantum consciousness for good, but we also need to be mindful of the potential for misuse.
You're absolutely right. As with any powerful technology, understanding the ethical implications and establishing safeguards will be essential. Open and honest conversations about the risks and benefits will be crucial as we navigate this new terrain.
It's been an incredible journey exploring these ideas with you. We've covered so much ground, but it feels like we've only just scratched the surface of this vast and mysterious topic.
I agree. The exploration of consciousness is an ongoing adventure, and there's still so much we don't know. But by asking questions, challenging assumptions, and staying open to new possibilities, we can continue to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit.
And that's what the deep dive is all about. We hope this episode has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to continue exploring these questions on your own. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into quantum consciousness and the spiritual realms. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of the universe.